Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about teaching you how to create print-on-demand designs that sell. Be sure to stay tuned until the end of the video because I have another 5 bonus niches for you guys. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can create this this kind of design right here. So now this is my Etsy listing, and this is for a woven blanket. Now, these are really cool and they sell very well. And the great thing about woven blankets is because they are one of the more expensive products, when you sell one, your profit is also very large. So for example, if I sell this blanket, and right now this is the 60 by 80 inch one that I have selected, so it's the most expensive one. I sell it at $115, marked down 30% off from $164. So, you know, at this price, I make around $30 of profit per sale on this blanket. So, whereas when I sell a shirt, I maybe make about $5 of profit. When I sell a blanket, obviously, I make a lot more. And because there are a lot less blankets than there are shirts, you have a lot less competition. That said, I do want to say that shirts still are my top seller, and I did just this morning make like a $2,000 sale on t-shirts. So t-shirts are still good. I'm not going to knock on t-shirts like some people do because I still do get my bread and butter off of shirts, but there's always room to expand your portfolio, start adding different products, and this here is a great one that you may have seen all over Etsy. And so on my listing, I can just show you here, we've got a basic mock-up of the blanket. As I come down, I've got sort of a detail page that will say, you know, something about the blanket here, give you a little example. Next, you know, you've got your lifestyle mock-up. This one would have like the blanket on a bed. I've got a size guide, which will show you the different sizes of the blankets there. Key features of the blanket. Again, another mock-up folded. Care instructions. And then I've got my sort of review card and my branding card there. And so that is what I include in one of my Etsy listings to make it look professional and to make people trust your shop and want to buy from you specifically. And so I am going to show you guys how you can create this blanket here and where you can get it from. So the first thing you need to know is that the print company that sells the woven blankets, in case you were curious, that is Gooten. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right over to Gooten here. And so Gooten is one of the many print companies out there. And this one specifically, I like their blankets. So a lot of print companies have overlapping products, but some will have unique products that are unique to them. And that is why it's nice to have multiple print companies integrated with your Etsy shop, because you can sell, you know, unique products from different print companies, but all on the same Etsy shop if you like, or Shopify shop, or wherever you happen to sell. And so this one right here, this is one of their best sellers here. It is the woven blanket. And so I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And what we can see is that it comes in 3 different sizes. So you've got your 52 inch by 37 inch, your 50 inch by 60 inch, and your 60 inch, by 80 inch right there. And so I'm going to go ahead and select all. What you also need to know is that these aren't just different sizes, but they're different dimensions. So when you do make a design, the proportions are not going to be the same. So some of these blankets are a little bit more square, some of them are a little bit more narrow. And so if you have a design where you can, you know, cut off the edges, that's fine. You can use one design for all 3 blankets. It's just going to be cropped differently. But if you have a design that has to fit perfectly, you may have to make 3 different designs, one for each size of the blanket, and I've done both of those things. It also has 2 different design types. So one is for graphics, one is for photos. The graphics is going to work well if you've got just, well, graphics essentially, you know, simple, bold colors, and that's going to be the thing we're going to do now. Photo obviously would work better if you've got photos where you've got a lot of fine detail and gradient colors. But we're going to go ahead and hit graphics for this one, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue. And so what it's going to do is it is going to pull up a template. And so over here, we can see that there are the 3 areas. And if I was to kind of go in between all 3 of them, you can see the dimensions. So this one, actually the first one, is a lot more tall and narrow, whereas in the middle one is a lot closer to square. It's not square, but you can see how the dimensions will change. So we can upload one image for all 3, or we can make a different image for all 3. You're also going to see that the printable area, it's going to give you in pixels here. So this top one, the smallest one, says 3,552 pixels by 4,992. Now, if we go all the way up to the biggest one, you're looking at 9,000 by 12,000 pixels. That is a lot of pixels. And so one of your questions may be, well, how do you design for something that big? And I'm going to show you on Canva how you can, design for something that big. And so you always want to design for the biggest area because it's okay to have more pixels than you need. So we would always kind of design ideally for the biggest size blanket. And with Canva, because it does limit initially how large you can design for, we can increase it as we export it to scale it up. So what I'm looking for is essentially something very similar to this that we've scaled down. So I did the math, and the way that I designed the blankets, I'm going to jump over to Canva here, and I'm going to hit custom size. And when I design my blankets, I'm going to use actually 3,750, right? 3,750 by 4,500. So that's going to give me roughly the dimensions of the middle blanket, so the wider one. And when we do the narrow one, it is going to kind of crop down a little bit more narrow. And when we export it, we're going to upscale it. And so I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. Let me jump over to Gooten again really quick here, because you can go ahead and download the design templates. So I can go ahead and download that so you guys can see. So it'll download it as a zip file. You'll have to open that zip file. And what we will do then is kind of drag and drop each one of these. So I'm going to do it here. It's going to be a JPEG, and we're just going to drop each size. I've already done this, so that's why it's doing that. You would just drag and drop each size into your downloads there. And then what happens, we'll go back over to Canva, and then we can upload them. So we could go over to our upload section here, hit upload, and we can upload them there. And so I've got all three of them uploaded here, so I can just click on them one at a time, add a page, click the next one, add a page, click the next one, add a page, and then I'm going to close this. And so what you're going to see here is the middle one, which is this one right here. The dimensions are pretty perfect, so it's going to fill up your page exactly. So there is your middle one. But when we start doing the biggest one and the littlest one, what we're going to see is it's not going to quite fill up the page. We're going to have a gap here on the side for that one, and we're going to have an even bigger gap when we come to the littler one here. You can see how it would cut off the edges of this blanket, whereas then it would show the entire blanket here. So what I actually like to do, let me go ahead and just duplicate this real quick. I'm going to get rid of that one. So I'm going to design on the top page. But one thing that you can do is pull up your rulers and guides. So you can hit Shift R on your keyboard. That will pull up your rulers and guides. And one thing that you could do would be to take your guidelines and go ahead and just line them up with the edges of the more narrow blankets. So that is going to be the guidelines for that one. And then we'll do it one more time. Oops. I'm going to grab and line it up with the side of this blanket right there. So now when I go back up to the page I'm designing on, what you'll see is I've got guidelines. So the middle blanket is going to cover my entire area. And then the other two, you can see the lines where they would cut off here and here. So when you design, make sure all of your important stuff is in the middle, but make sure you've got enough bleed to go all the way to the edges. Again, if you were doing something that had like a border, you might have to make 3 different sizes where the border fits perfectly within each of these lines. But if you're doing something where you can just sort of crop off the edges, well, then you don't have to. So today I'm going to do kind of a cool 50s cat style. So we're just going to go with sort of that retro 50s mid-century kind of theme. And so really easy, I'm going to go up to elements and we'll design this real quick so that you guys can see. And I am going to go with, let's put 1950s and just see what comes up. There's always a lot of cool 1950s style things that you can see. And you can see that like this kind of thing is really popular there. I can go over to the magic recommendations and you'll see lots of these kind of cool shapes that we see. And so this is the kind of thing that I would want to incorporate, would be some of these kind of cool shapes. We also have the cat here. And so you can see how that cat is sort of that cool 1950s style. Again, some of the like little diamond kind of things are really popular. And so what you would want to do is go ahead, pick some of these shapes that you like. And there's a whole bunch of different ones here that you can find. And we're just going to go ahead, pick a few of them that we're going to use. And then we're also going to pick a cat. Ideally, I don't want to use, exactly the same thing. You do always want to make your designs your own. So I'm just going to go ahead and move these all out of the page, because the cool thing is I can always just go ahead and go to my recently used once I've pulled things up. And then I can go ahead here. Let's go ahead and put black cat and see what comes up again. And there's all sorts of different black cats. Here I'm looking for one, like I'm looking for one that's a little bit more of that 50s style black cat that we saw. And so you can scroll down and you'll find, obviously lots of different versions, and you can look for one that kind of looks like, for example, here's one that kind of fits the bill a little bit. Here's another one that looks pretty retro. It'll pull up magic recommendations so I can look to see if there's any other cool retro style cats. Maybe not in here. Let's go back. But that's kind of the style that you're looking for. And you can pick any ones that you want. And so I'm just going to go ahead and go to my recently used, because I know I already looked through all of the stuff. So what I can do is I can close this, and if you go back, it'll just say recently used, and you can put see all, and it's going to pull up everything that you recently used, which makes it kind of easy for you. So the first thing we do is kind of find whatever background, shapes that we want. And so I'm just going to scroll down to what I did before. Okay, so here are some of the ones that I had found before. And so I used this one right here, which I thought was really cool. Except I went ahead and made the diamonds a white color. There we go. And I'm going to make that nice and, big in the page. But again, making sure that it's not going to go outside. And then I was going to pick a cat. Now there were several cats. I think I liked this one. And I went ahead and made the cat black, and I made the eyes more of a yellow color, but not that yellow. So something a little bit brighter, maybe something a little bit more like that for the cat eyes. And so that looks cool. And we'll just go ahead and put the cat somewhere in the middle here, so it looks kind of cool. Something there looks nice. And then we'll add a few flourishes in here. So like this one looks kind of cool, and I can add this sort of flourish in the corner. Maybe shrink it down, throw it somewhere here. Maybe add this other flourish right here. Any of those would look kind of cool. We'll just go with this one. Shrink that down, put it in the corner here. Maybe I change the colors here. Maybe I decide to make this one more of a red. Right, so something like that. And then maybe I decide I'm going to make this red too. So something there looks pretty cool. And again, I want it to be pretty big. So maybe I just take this whole thing now and I make it a little bit bigger so that it really fills the page. So something there. So that's pretty easy. That was super easy, simple to do. And this will actually work on the blanket, because I'm just going to have a wider area there versus the narrow ones. I mean, you could always add more if you want, but let's just go ahead and keep it simple. I'm going to title this, let's go 1950s or 1950 cat, and we'll just leave it like that. Now, one thing that you'll notice as we scroll down here is it will tell you, obviously, the dimensions for each. I'm going to zoom in so I can actually see this. So print area, resolution, you're looking for 150 dpi for this. Keep in mind that when it comes to the woven blankets, they're actually woven, not printed. So it is not so much that it is printed at 150 dpi. It is woven, I guess, to look as though it was printed at 150 dpi, but it is a woven thing. But that's what they're going for, is that print area. And it'll tell you to save it as a JPEG. Now, typically I save things as a PNG, but for the blankets, we're going to do a JPEG. And so that's just what I wanted to show you right there. So I'm going to scroll back down and we're going to save this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to share. I'm going to go to download. It's usually set at a PNG. This is where I'm going to change it to the JPEG. Now here it's showing you your pixels, right? So we had it at 3,000 something by 4,000 something pixels. I am going to increase the size here. So right now it says size is 1. I'm going to bring that up to a 2.75. And when I bring it up to 2.75, it is now going to export this as over 10,000 pixels by over 12,000 pixels. Now that will be big enough to cover the largest blanket. And so we can do that. There's also a thing here for quality. We'll bring that quality all the way up. So now I've got a JPEG, size is 2.75, which again, over 10,000 pixels. Quality is at 100. And now what we're going to do is just pick our first page here, because that's the only one I need. And we're going to go ahead and download that. And once it is downloaded, we will jump right back over to Gooten, and we will go ahead and throw this one design up across all of the blankets. So let's go ahead and jump over here. We're at Gooten. Now I can put bulk upload right here, and it's going to put the same design on every blanket. If I was going to do this and put a different design on each blanket, I can click on each of these individually and hit upload artwork and do it one at a time that way, upload artwork. But if I'm going to put the same design on all three, I can just go ahead and put bulk upload, upload artwork here. So go ahead, hit upload from device. That will pull up your downloads. You can select your 1950 cat. It's going to upload it here. Give it a sec. You hit select, and now it's gone ahead and put it on all three blankets. Now it doesn't necessarily have it centered, so you can see it's off center. So you're going to want to come down here where it says align horizontal, click that, that's going to center it. And make sure that for each one of these blankets, you make sure that you've got it perfectly centered so that we don't have any surprises. And so they all look like they're good now. And then we'll go ahead and go to continue. All right, so here it's gone ahead and created some different mockups for you, and you can take a look at the mockups. It's going to show you all three blanket sizes here, so you can see the wider one and the more narrow one. Look at your blankets and make sure that they all look good however you want them to. Assuming that's cool, we can go ahead and hit continue here. And then here is where we would go ahead. We can put in our product name here. You've got a description, so you can change the description however you want. It's got all three variants, and we would go ahead then and publish it to our store. Once I publish it to my store, it's going to save it in your drafts section on your Etsy shop. So then you could go into your drafts, and then you can go ahead and make whatever changes you need to the listing prior to publishing it. So that would include, obviously, putting in your tags, putting in your prices, your sections, things like that. And then, of course, making all of your thumbnails. So back over on my blanket, you can see that I've got some different thumbnails. So I didn't necessarily use just the ones that came with it. I did use, for example, this one came with it, but I went ahead and I put it over my own card there. And some of these others, as I'm scrolling through, that one did come with it, so that's one of the ones off of Gooten. I went ahead and included that. Size chart, you can go ahead and make your own or buy your own. Or what I did is I did buy some mock-up listing cards, and then I made them my own. So I went ahead and put them on stuff that matched my branding, so my colors and everything else to give it a nice uniform look. But like, for example, this picture here, I did go ahead and buy that on Etsy. Again, you can make your own cards here and use just some of the basic pictures off of Gooten. Here is one of the mockups that came from Gooten. It gives you a nice close-up of it, but it doesn't show the whole blanket. And of course, people do want to see the whole blanket. My care instructions here. Again, you can make this your own and make it to match your shop so that you have a nice uniform look. So again, my review card there and my branding card there. It all has a nice, clean and uniform look there. And then, of course, your main mock-up image, you can do this however you want. You can buy mock-ups on Etsy. I do have to warn you about some of the mock-ups that you buy. So I bought a mock-up and then just went ahead and put the Gooten mock-up right over the top of it. And I'll tell you why. I'll go ahead and go back over to Canva and show you guys real quick. So this is the mock-up that I bought off of Etsy, and it's a really cute mock-up. It's got the wrinkled blanket, but the problem is we can see how it curves here when the person is holding it up. And because of that, when we put in an image like this, it looks like it's cutting off the image because the image doesn't curve at the top with the blanket. And so that doesn't look good for this kind of design. It works really well for designs that are either just solid patterns or things where you can't necessarily tell the top is cut off. So if I was to, let's go ahead and scroll up here. Here's a patterned one. You can see on the patterned one, it looks really well. It works really well and there's no issues. But on this one, it didn't quite look right. So I just went ahead and put another one over it. But if you were to buy, like, let's say this mock-up here, the way it works is, let me go ahead and just send that to the back. What you can see is I just put my image right over the top of that, and then I just send it to the back and it puts the image right inside. And so that's the way the mock-up works. And so there's a lot of these mock-ups on Etsy that are, are available for you guys to buy to make it look nice. They work in some instances, in some instances they don't. And so you can, kind of decide when to use them depending on what kind of style of blanket you are doing, of course. And you can always, use them and change them as needed, just like you can use some of like the packages that'll include like the size charts and everything, and you can edit those to make them look, more your style, or you can just make your own from scratch. But anyways, that is how you would go ahead and create this woven blanket style design. I hope you guys found this useful. It took me a while to kind of figure this out. I spent a day sort of playing with it and playing with the sizes and everything to kind of get it all the way I wanted it. Once I had it the way I want it, now I can go ahead and put up lots of listings for blankets, and it's a lot easier. But, the first time you have to play with it just a little bit to kind of see what works and what doesn't. But it is a great product for you guys to try out adding, oops, another sale, to either your Etsy shop or your Shopify shop or whatever you like. Because you guys were so patient again and waited until the end of the video, I do have another 5 bonus niches for you guys. So here are your 5 bonus niches, and because we did a 1950s style design, I just decided to go with more of those retro mid-century style niches. So without any more waiting, number 1 just says the fabulous 50s, and so you can come up with any sort of design for the fabulous 50s. Number 2, sock hop, and I don't know why, but sock hop is actually doing well on Amazon right now. So if I'm going to my Amazon research and I just look for like, the top 100 or 200 selling shirts, for whatever reason, sock hop is in the top. Number 3 would be like a Sadie Hawkins dance, and so you can give it sort of that either retro sort of poster look or however you want for the Sadie Hawkins dance. Number 4, this is my 50s costume. Now there are all sorts of niches that you can do where essentially you put, this is my, blank shirt, or this is my blank costume, and just the words, and it's funny. And so you can scale that out. Obviously, I've seen shirts that say like, this is my Halloween costume, or this is my Mardi Gras shirt, or this is my Easter shirt, or whatever. And there's no end to how many times you can do that. And then number 5, born in the 50s, raised in the 60s, partied in the 70s. Of course, you can change those decades too, so there would be nothing to stop you from saying born in the 80s, raised in the 90s, partied in the 2000s. So however you want to do that. Anyways, again, if you have questions, put it in the comments section below. I try to get back to everybody as quickly as I can. I do read all the comments. Thank you so much for all the kind words. That is very nice, and I am trying to grow this channel, so it means a lot to me. I am also working on a print-on-demand course, so that is in the works, but I'm, really spending my time to make sure that it is very good. So it may take a few more months to kind of get it up and running, but you guys can look forward to that. And I think that's it. So I do hope to see you guys again next time. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.